Hello and welcome to the Thursday weekly show on how to find your ideal client online. And I decided to actually make this show kind of a weekly segment answering that question because it is broad and there are many ways to get to the end of it and actually find your ideal clients. And I also decided to call it that because that is the number one question that's asked of me all the time about building an online business because yes, they are all out there on the internet. There is a lot of people there. However, finding that one or of course many ideal clients online feels like a needle in a haystack. And this show is going to help you answer that question with teardowns, step-by-steps, as well as amazing guests. And today we do have some guests. We have four experts that are going to come on and share with you their tips, their stories, and some of their biggest mistakes in just a few minutes. So first, let's get going. I am Charlene Tessier, the founder of Strength in Numbers, and I help you use strategic live stream to find your fans online as well as to fill your programs and courses. And one of the ways I really do recommend for you to find your ideal clients online and to reach them and to start building a relationship is to use video. And I know that sounds super scary. I'm not even going to talk about live stream, I'm just going to talk about video. And some of you may not know, but I didn't inherently was attracted to video. That was not my inherent kind of predisposition, to be honest. 2 years ago, actually now it's more than like 3 years ago, if you told me then that I would be doing live streaming and all of these videos, I would probably laugh in your face, to be honest. I was extremely camera shy. I didn't know anything about video. And like most people, I actually leaned into long form blogging. That was kind of what the guru said I had to do. And it did not match my personality at all. I really hated doing it. And I did it for a while. It was a horrible grind. And I didn't, of course, have very many results because if you hate doing something, generally things aren't going to be very great for you, to be honest. So then I moved to short form posts, which again, I didn't see very many results. And then I even moved to Twitter, which I hated even more. And so I eventually kind of just gave up on it. And I came across a challenge to stop being camera shy in 30 days. And I did this challenge. And at the end of 30 days, I was a little bit more confident. But to be honest, I still had a lot of fears and reservation about being on video. And I'm going to share with you today how you can get started on video and sort of how I got going, because it takes a lot more kind of effort than you think. And it's not very difficult, but I think getting over that first hump is really the hardest. It really, really is. And I originally just wanted to do recorded video because I thought it would be easier. I could make mistakes. And in the end, it didn't actually suit my personality that well. I actually created over 20 videos for my YouTube channel that I still have never released. And I don't think I will ever publish them. To just sit there unlisted, I'm just too embarrassed because I think we all feel that way. We just feel like, oh, it looks so horrible on video, or I sound terrible, or I don't know what to say. And that was me as well. To be honest, it totally was me. And there are a few things you can do to kind of get going in a very lightweight way where you'll see success and get over that kind of hurdle. And the first is to plan out what you want to say and try to keep it really short. Just 3 minutes. So you're not going to try to make a really long live stream like this is a show. I did it for 30 minutes and I mostly was doing solo live streams that are about 10 minutes long, sometimes 15. And when I decided in my mind I was going to do a show that ran anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, I was like, I don't think I can do this. That's just way too long. Who's going to listen to me talk for 45 minutes? And I have another video that I talked about where I watched a lot of YouTubers, live stream YouTubers, Twitch shows to actually kind of make some variety. But don't start there. Those guys have been doing it for ages. Just start with simple. Give one tip, 3 minutes. Make it short and sweet and easy. Another way you can do it, which takes out kind of the content level, is create a list of questions that are open-ended, that would bring value to your audience and invite people to be there to be interviewed. So it's, yes, the same sort of set of questions each time, but you kind of don't have to create quite so much content, and it eases the anxiety because you have somebody with you. So that is another way you would be able to kind of get started with video in a very short kind of way that's not too difficult. Now, the next thing that you need is, and that was my main challenge, was that I never wanted to hit publish when I made those YouTube videos. I just had every excuse. You know, I did multiple takes on all of those videos, and they're probably fine, but I never ever published them, and I don't know if I ever will. And that's because I didn't have this very strong kind of accountability. And there's a few ways you can do that. For me, going live was a very strong form of accountability. Just putting it out there and knowing that I have to show up, good, bad, ugly, you know, just kind of have to do it and muddle through it, was kind of trial by fire. And that, to be honest, kind of matches my personality. I'm kind of those kind of people who really needs a deadline. Like in school, I didn't do anything. And then when it's almost due, then all of a sudden I'm in full gear. And so that's kind of the personality I am. I need kind of these very hard deadlines. Another way to do it, if you don't want to do live, is to have an accountability buddy who you can even put them on your YouTube channel as a kind of moderator or editor, and they can even push the publish button for you. Oh my gosh. So that you have to publish. You have to eventually publish and get it out there, because if you don't, it just sits there and really you aren't actually growing in your video skills or in your live stream skills. The other thing is consistency. So you got to do it consistently. Oh. And that means at least once a week. You got to put out something new once a week. And really, it's just a form of practice. You get better at doing video by the more you do it. And once a week is really the bare minimum. If you want to kind of go hard in, like the 30-day challenge I did with Neve Arthur is a great way to start. But even after that, when I decided to live stream, not at the beginning, but after several months getting ready, I streamed for 6 weeks straight, 45 live streams. And that essentially just gets you to building that muscle of getting better. And of course, what you really want to do is make sure you hit publish. You got to go live. You got to eventually put it out to the world and see what happens, and get the kind of feedback that you can get when you go live. And everybody starts from where I started, where you're maybe starting in video, right, where you don't feel very comfortable. If you watch many YouTubers who are now super successful, you can actually go by timestamp back to their original first few videos, and you will see they were awkward and it was ugly and the camera wasn't that great. And it's all where we begin. And eventually, just by doing and practicing and putting it out there, getting that feedback loop going, then you will start to become much more comfortable on video. And the reason I really love video is, of course, it gets great reach on social. It's a wonderful way to build your connection with your audience, build your know, like, and trust factor, showcasing your expertise. There's just so many wonderful aspects about video, but it is a little bit of a scary to get started, and it can feel like a big hurdle to overcome. But I know you can do it. And if you don't have an accountability partner, you can join my private group, and I will be your accountability partner. You just message us, the team will check in on you and see how it's going. So there is really no reason why you can't get started with that. Now we're going to have our guests in just a few minutes. I have 4 guests, but we're going to do 2 and then 2. So then that way we can really get to know our guests. Let me first just put up this one. I kind of forgot to make my other overlay, but that's okay. Got to move out of the way. Whoa. Oh, I kind of gave away the surprise there, but that's okay. I have my event coming up at the end of October. It is a panel of 8 experts, including myself, who are going to help you to get more people to show up for your virtual events. Everybody is still doing a lot of master classes and trainings. And yes, there's maybe hybrids and in person, but getting people to show up is difficult. Getting them to sign up, not so hard, but we really want to get those show ups. And so we have 8 experts who are going to be talking about that at this panel at the end of the month. You can bring your questions live and get the ear of those experts and ask them directly. If you can't show up live, it's okay. we're going to send you the replay. But really do hope you can show up live. And today I have 4 of those experts who are going to come up to the stage in just a moment. Let me see here. Just going to get everything ready. And I realize I have this little clock on the side, but I don't have it up because I have a different layout today. Let me see what time it is. Okay, good. We are on schedule. I want to make sure everybody gets enough time to come up to the stage. So today what I have first, actually the first 2 guests is Jenn Neal. And we also have Robin hasn't come quite yet. She'll be here, but we can start with Jenn because it's always nice to get a little bit going just a little bit earlier, and that's okay. There's Jenn. Hi.
Hey.
And I'm not going to do the full big, everybody does a really long bio read, and I'm not going to do the long bio read. I'm just going to do the short and sweet and let you we'll get to know you really. That will be the funnest way. And Jenn is a tech nerd marketing expert, the tech nerd marketing expert that you've been looking for, actually. And we're going to have a bit of fun today. And we're obviously not going to talk about the event because that's the point of you coming to the event. The show is talking about how to find your ideal clients online. So we are going to do some tips and stories and biggest challenge with a random wheel question, which will be in a little bit. We want to wait for Robin to come in, but actually I would love to know something about you that nobody else knows about. It doesn't need to be business because this is kind of a get to know the panel experts. We don't have time at the event.
Yeah. Oh man, I should have prepped for that. I hate this question. Let's see.
Give you a hint. You said something very interesting in your bio. That's why I did not want to read it because I thought that was a very interesting fact about that. I was surprised when I read it about one of your main interests, actually.
Oh yes, my main interest is Formula One racing. So I am in fact, I actually am a racer myself. I met my husband drag racing. We were on opposing teams, and now we only watch Formula One racing, and every other sport to me I just call sports ball. So
and I'm very curious, how did you kind of get into that?
How did I fall into because of racing, really. Because of being a drag racer. And I hate, it's so funny, I hate what's the word? The rounder NASCAR. So
NASCAR. They just go around and around and around for
yes. Yeah. I hate NASCAR. I'm I want something that the reason that I love Formula One is it is the elite of the elite, but you actually you have to think, you have to be a good athlete, you have to be a good driver, because every track is different. They travel literally to 22 different tracks all over the world, and every single one is different. So I just love that it's changing up the game, because I'm really good at overcomplicating things.
And has that event still been running over COVID? Because a lot of sporting kind of stopped, right? Because they just couldn't. And so I was wondering if that one, I guess they could still do it.
They did. They shut down a few of them when everything kind of hit, right? And then now they've still been doing them. At first, they did them without any fans in the seats, and now, in fact, the last one was just in Turkey last week, and the stands were full and nobody's wearing masks. So.
Because of, I guess, the outdoor exemption rule. We kind of have that sometimes, but actually in crowds, I don't know. We're not going to talk about that. That's going to get into a hairy ball of something that we don't want to get into. Actually, now I'll let you do a really short bio of yourself. I think that would be nicer. Just a little bit of who you serve, who you help, and how do you help them.
Well, I love it. I was listening to you telling a little bit about your story, and I love that you were talking about how you hated video when you first started, and you used to be a blogger. And, my background, I also love that you have nerds on here as well. So thank you, Stacy. But I ran a marketing agent, still do actually, but my own marketing agency for almost 13 years. And I got tired of building other people's dreams. I was just done. Like I said, okay, it's time for me to start building my own empire. And when I really looked at like, how do I niche down, which was super frightening to even think of that.
Mhm.
And um, when I was looking at like, how do I do that? I realized that the key in what I came up with is called content activation, but it's a combination of just like what you were talking about, video and still doing those long form blogs, right? And then also adding in paid traffic to help increase your reach and awareness. And so it's this whole strategy that helps become like make you seen online by sort of combining all the things that are working um,
Mhm.
in a unique way that is all about content repurposing. So you still only start from that one core video, and that's what you do. So that's
Mhm.
I've developed that system and tested it over the last 2.5 years or so, and so we're actually just launching the program to the public for the first time, actually right now. So it's
Oh,
awesome.
wonderful. That's exciting. And we will talk a bit more about that as well. And funnily, even though I have started out with blogging, and the reason I started out with that was because that's what the guru said. You had to do long form blogs. And I thought, I felt at the time I was a terrible copywriter. And I still feel that I'm a bad copywriter. But now that I've gotten more into video, weirdly enough, I'm now more interested in copywriting so that I can have better videos. And so it's just a strange kind of being in the right, I don't know, being in the format or whatever you call that deliverable mechanism that's the most comfortable for you can kind of inspire you to get better at that one skill. But if you're doing the thing you really hate, like if you just really hate short form, then maybe find something else. You don't have to do it because the gurus say that's the
Mhm.
way you have to go. There are so many ways you can reach your goals in your business. And that's what's so great. We're going to have the 4 experts here who are going to talk about very different ways you can
Mhm.
reach your goals and find the way that's really innately for you. And Robin is here, so we'll bring her because I would love to have her up here. Hello. I think it's nice to have a few people. You may have to shuffle a little bit, like there you go. I know because it's 3, because the thing is a little bit skinny. And I was just saying to Jen that I'm not going to do the full bio read. I'm just going to do a really short little one, and I'll let you kind of tell us your story a
Oh,
little
sure.
bit. And you went from one-to-one coaching to facilitating your own year-long mastermind in 90 days. And what I did kind of had to cut out because it was too long on the block of text was that you did it through Jay Facette's 90-day bootcamp mastermind program, and you launched it from there in actually 90 days, which is so amazing. And now you also do a lot of pop-up masterminds, which I am so excited to learn about as well. So how's it going today, Robin?
Oh, it's great. It's a beautiful day in Western Washington, just like fall with all the beautiful leaves changing colors. So up and at it, and yeah, enjoying the change in seasons for sure. Doing
Oh,
well.
great. Wonderful.
Yeah,
And I will let you share one thing about yourself that the audience doesn't know. It can be personal, can be unique, not business oriented. We want to get to know you a little bit. So something,
sure.
yeah, about yourself.
Well, a lot of people probably don't know that I had a music and dance studio in my small town. And the thing that was kind of crazy about it is it's a town of 5,000 people. And I had one of the biggest kinder music businesses in the United States. So kinder music is music and movement for children newborn through age 7. And it's an international company, right? And so at one point, I got a certificate from them saying, "You have one of the largest kinder music studios in the United States of America." And I was like, amazing. Yeah. So that's just kind of a fun, crazy thing about, the impact you can have in a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And I love Kinder. I actually look for that's what it's called. Kinder is German for child. So
Yes.
that's what
Yes.
we look for here for our daughter is Kinder
Yeah.
music
It
program.
was,
And
it
it's
came
like
from,
really popular actually. It's kind of I don't know, it's just you want your kid to do that. And also it's good because it tires them out. So they go to bed early.
oh, yeah, that's
And
funny.
so why don't you let us know just really quick, just briefly, instead of me reading the bio, I don't want to do that. I'll just let us know who do you serve and how do you serve them?
Yeah, so I serve, well, what I say is that for over close to 30 years, I've helped people achieve their artistic goals through music and dance. And now for the last 12 years or so, I've shifted towards entrepreneurs who have similar goals. They may not be artistic, but I know how to help people get where they want to go. And part of it, when you think about it, being a music teacher, I do accountability work with my students every single week, right? So I just transferred that accountability skill that I've developed over all those years to helping entrepreneurs reach their goals. And some of that's through accountability, just one-on-one, but a lot of it's through accountability in groups. So that's the mastermind, right? Because when you have a group that meets together every 2 weeks for a whole year, there's naturally accountability that happens within that group.
Yeah. And that's well wonderful. And I know your crossover is music, and people would think like that's not, innately it just sounds very far, far on the spectrum there. But
Yeah.
I did classical music. I was professionally trained classical, and it does build a lot of skills, like for business, like you said, being accountable, practice, because you don't learn an instrument overnight. It literally takes years of doing a little every day.
Right.
And also going live for me, that is kind of, I think, why live for me really works, is because we did performance, and when you got to perform, you got to get ready and you really, dig in there and get ready to perform, because you can practice all you want, but it's never the same unless you really do it out live in front of everybody.
Those are some really great points, right? And the life of a musician is you've set a goal and you stick with it no matter what, because you want that so badly that even when you hit those valleys and the plateaus, you know that you're going to keep going because you are committed to it. And that's, very similar with entrepreneurs. We see something, we want to achieve it, but unless we've got somebody around us to help us stick with it, like when you're a musician, your parents are there and they're like, hey, my parents told me multiple times, no, you're not quitting. We're not stopping here. You're not done yet. You're not fully baked. You got to you got to finish this through college, which I did, which is funny because my degree was in political science, not in piano performance, because anyway, well, another story. But I had somebody there supporting me to reach my goal. And so just like that with entrepreneurs, a lot of times we end up being kind of lone rangers and we don't have people around us that are consistently supporting us in reaching our goal. So I'm a big fan of doing that.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah.
And the questions I have for you guys are truly random. Jen already saw it because I moved out of the way. But I have a wheel. I actually rolled the wheel, a random wheel. So I don't even know what question you're going to get, but I'm going to let you know what are the categories so you can already start to prepare in your mind. And don't worry, don't stress. And we are talking about, in this show specifically, how to find your ideal clients online and using whatever is your expertise. Of course, there's many ways to approach that question. So that's the tip or strategy we'll give around, of course, that. So that just gives you a bit of context. So we have several categories. The yellow one is a story. And so you can use a personal story, business story, client story, whatever story you think that will convey your message. And then we've got the blue one is a tip. One very quick tip that they can do and take away for the audience. The green is a good one, is the common mistake. So one most common mistake that you see many entrepreneurs making in your area. And the red thing is, which is the last one, is, the best thing. So what is the best thing that actually happened to you this week? So that's more personal. It doesn't have to be business. It can be whatever you like. So I know I'm going to roll the wheel. I thought I would move it closer. I don't know if it will work because I miscalculated that with 3 screens that this gets much, much more smaller when I did the setup earlier today. I don't know if this is even going to work. I'm going to just put it up there and see if it actually can be kind of seen. But the thing is, then I'm not in the shot because you've only got the wheel, so that's a little bit weird. I don't know. I don't think it is going to work because it's too unfortunately, but it's okay. Hey, gotta try it. Don't know until you go live, like I said. So I'll just roll the wheel and I'll just tell you what the question or the topic is. And it's story. It happens to be story. Jen, are you ready? Or do you need another minute?
Sure. Let me figure out story here real quick. All right. So actually, Here we go. So I'll tell a story. So one of the, this is kind of business. Well, I guess it is business related, but it's like a kind of pride thing. So I told you that I've been testing out my content activation model on different companies and stuff. And so one of the companies, and I won't say their name, but somebody hired me. They're kind of a big player in this whole digital space, right? Hired me to kind of run that model on their business as a JV partner, promoting and supporting somebody else's launch. So it was fun because I got to see sort of the inside track of like how that was, what was happening. But what was really awesome is I was both supporting their business and showing how my model works. But what's really, really exciting is I ran this and we sent emails to their list, and they do have a pretty big size list. And then we did organic strategy with an article, and we did paid traffic. And here's what's really awesome. When it all came down to the end of it, we actually ended up taking third place in the leaderboard, beating out Jeff Walker and Ryan Levesque. And I was like, yes, that's awesome.
Wow, that is amazing. What a
Pretty
story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Robin.
Okay, so this is a story about, should I talk about pop-up masterminds and things that can happen there?
Whatever you feel is going to be, matching. Yep.
I will talk about that. So one of the things I love to do is bring people together in communities, even if it's just for a couple of hours in a pop-up mastermind. And when I do these, and I'll be talking a lot more about them later, but when I do these, I go through and I just invite people. Sometimes I'm very specific about who I'm inviting and maybe the combination and the alchemy in the room. And sometimes I have not a clue. And last year, I did a bunch of them kind of randomly. I just opened it up on Facebook and I was like, hey, all my entrepreneurial friends, I'm doing this thing. If you'd like, just put your hand up. So that's what happened. And my favorite story about that was I had two friends, one, clients, kind of, one was definitely client, the other one kind of more friend zone, but they both were named Joe, J-O, both women. And what I didn't know when they came together was that, well, I knew that one was a story coach, but the other one is a studio owner, a music studio owner in Australia. Well, it turns out Joe and Joe got together because Joe in Australia, the studio owner, wanted to write a book, and the other Joe is a story coach. And so they came together and are authoring a book. And that was my favorite story of all the crazy random pop-ups I did last year and just the magic that can happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's so amazing when people come together from all over the world. You just don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, that's happened to me quite a bit too. That was an effect I didn't really think about when I ran like these panel experts, and before when I ran it as a virtual summit, we had a networking, and several of them became like very close friends from totally opposite sides of the world. And later I found out like through Facebook's like, oh, they're like good friends now. That's interesting. So yeah, you're right.
I think it's a wonderful side benefit, and it almost never it almost always happens. There's something that happens in the room where I find out later that somebody writes back to me and says, oh my gosh, thanks for the introduction to this person. We really hit it off. And that's the cool thing about even the pandemic, right? Because we are all connecting internationally and multinationally, and it's just amazing. People would have never met. They would never have met.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very, very true. I would have probably not met many of you, to be honest.
Right.
It's been actually in my benefit, which some of you know my story about that. Let's do one more, and then we have two more experts coming up, because I know you guys have very busy days and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So we'll do one more. And I hope my wheel will choose a different one, or I'm just going to, tip. Tip is such a good one. One tip, preferably actionable if you can, that the audience can use to take away today.
Okay. Let's see. Here's what I will say. So a lot of what I'm all about is content repurposing, but be smart in what you're repurposing, because think about where your prospects and customers are at in their customer journey. And the more that you can understand how your message relates to cold, warm, and hot traffic and deliver the content that they need at the place that they're at in the journey, if that makes any sense. But literally, like, pay attention to where they're at and what they need at the step that they're at. That is going to help resonate and ultimately convert your audience in a much more personalized way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an amazing tip. And people don't think about that. They think one piece of content's good enough for everybody all the time, which is so untrue.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
Thanks. That is a great tip. And Robin.
Yeah, I don't know why this is coming up. I think it's because it came up in a pop-up this week. And that is communicate with people where they want to be communicated at. And so what I mean by that is so many times we take the easy route, which is like Facebook Messenger, right? We see a potential client and we reach out there. And actually, I had somebody tell me this week, I don't want to be contacted there. Contact me here. Contact me via email or call me, but please don't do that. And I think it's really important that we ask people, what's the best way to reach you? And I also think it's important that we tell people what the best way is to reach us. I don't know about the two of you, but I've noticed that I have people reaching out to me on Signal and Telegram and Messenger and text, and I don't even know Voxer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, could you just like pick one? And so I think it's really important because there's so much coming at us from so many different directions that we have a way of knowing the best way we want to be reached and the best way our clients or potential clients want to communicate with us. And so actually one of my projects for today is to put together, I hate spreadsheets. If you know me, you know I hate spreadsheets, but I'm going to put together a spreadsheet so that I can, I don't have a Rolodex. Like that's, way in the past. But if I had a Rolodex, I'd have a Rolodex. I could just look up and say, how best should I communicate with this person? So that's my tip. Be thoughtful.
Yeah, I think that's so valid, especially in this. I'm the same. I hate it when people like email me, then the same day DM me and 2 different social platforms, try to text me, phone me. I'm just like, we already are like overloaded with so much communication information from everywhere that streamlining that and being respectful that and if you choose the way that they like, they'll always usually respond very promptly in that way. They won't go out of their way to, drive you crazy by not responding. So thank you for that tip and very actionable. I love it. And it is one of my huge vices as well. People contact me all over the place. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jenn and Robin, to be here. We have 2 more guests. They are both going to be at the live expert panel who are going to help you get more people to show up for your virtual event. And it is open floor. So you can ask your questions directly to the whole panel or just to Jenn or to Robin. So if you really have questions about pop-up masterminds, which I'm sure many of you do, and how to get people to show up for those events and find them, or if you have questions for Jenn around all kinds of things, content, repurpose, tech, she does so much, like full funnel, really. She knows so much stuff. So you got to come and talk to them. So thank you so much for being here. I'll let you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll bring 2 more to the stage in just a second here. Here we go. And because then there won't be space for your guys' heads, I'll move my head out of the way. That is my events coming up at the end. There are 4 are here today. And next week, a few more will actually be on the show so you can meet them all. And I will put the link down in the comments. I haven't done so yet. Sorry, I will get around to that. I can only do so many things at one time. So we have Stacy and Kimberly, and they're both here. I'm going to bring I'll bring Stacy. She's been waiting so patiently, but I think she came to just watch the show in the backstage there. And I was telling everybody, I'm not going to do the full long read bio. I just decided to pick out a piece from your bio, which was the technology therapist and squirrel wrangler. And I had to put that in there because I wanted to know, why are you so known as the squirrel wrangler. That is very interesting.
Well, these little buggers right here, they are, people say, oh, you're working along and all of a sudden squirrel, you get distracted by them, right? So they're the shiny objects, the Facebook posts, the extra websites, the other things in our day that, oh my gosh, I'm going to just go unload the dishes real quick. And then you get distracted with, ooh, I should make this recipe. And then all of a sudden it's 4 hours later and you haven't gotten any work done. However, and so people say, oh, well, just get rid of the squirrels. You have to get rid of them. And I disagree. I do not think you have to get rid of the squirrels, but I do think you need to put them in their little cage until you're ready for them, because they hold our creativity. And if you get rid of them, you've lost your creativity. So you don't want to get rid of the squirrels. You want to cage them, make them a nice cozy little cage or whatever, it doesn't have to be, in the basement in the dark with no water and no food, give them a decent little cage, but cage those squirrels until you're ready for them, and remember to bring them out and play with them.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, you got to remember to get them out and play with them once in a while, because they get lonely, and you lose your creativity. So you have to
I've never heard of that expression before. I've only heard of the shiny object one, and I like the squirrel one, and you've got the little plushy squirrel, so it's very.
They've actually, the squirrels have been to JVology. Squirrels went to JVology Live 2 years ago. They've been on the Marketers Cruise, and they've been to Jane M. Powers Live, and they've been to Vegas.
Oh, wow.
We're not supposed to talk about Vegas. Yeah, that's what that one just told me. We're not supposed to talk about Vegas.
Oh, and just really quick, why don't you just share with us who you serve and how do you serve them?
I serve entrepreneurs who are frustrated with their productivity and their work-life balance by helping them with a full life formula that I've created that encompasses 9 areas of our life, 4 of which are the 4 issues that are under all of our health problems today that we need to mitigate. And then the rest is, things to mitigate those issues.
Nice. Thanks for being here. And now we'll get Kim. Let me grab my mouse here. There you are. Hi, Kimberly. And you made it. Yes.
There we go.
She doesn't realize she has 2 Missouri girls in one place.
Hello.
I don't know where you all are from.
Yes, we're about 3 hours apart.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I did not know that. See, that's, and see, it's a surprise even for me. So Kim helps you increase your open rates up to 80%, hit your first ever 6-figure launch, and double conversions on your landing page. And I'm not going to do the full buy read. I think that is, already telling you quite a bit about what Kim probably does. Maybe it doesn't quite allude to exactly what it is, but Kim, first, let's actually learn something about you that we don't know, something that nobody really knows, maybe.
Oh boy, something no one knows? That might be hard to come up with.
Well, in terms of the business, like as a business entrepreneurs, we tend to only know one side of people. Right. We don't know their personal side. It's not that it's a secret. It's just that we probably don't share that quite so often.
All right, let's see. Something people don't know about me. I can count to 10 in 10 languages.
Wow.
That one's fun. It's fun. It's random. It relates to a lot of other things. See, one of my big approaches to what I do is incorporating your personal and business together so that you're not like only strictly business. So I love that question because it's something that so many people are like, oh, well, I wouldn't know that about you. And I was like, actually, those are the things I share with my people all the time. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And really quick, who do you serve and how do you serve them?
Yeah, so I serve coaches who are building communities, and I help them with creating strategy and marketing that lets them build a community, that lets them build their business, that lets them build the life that they want, without taking up too much of their time and making sure that they're focusing their time on the things that they actually like doing.
Yes, that's so good. And I talked about that at the beginning. You weren't here at the beginning about how I hated writing copy on blog posts. And it's like, I don't know, we hear a lot of business advice and we feel we have to do that because that's the thing that everybody's doing. And everybody's doing challenges. I have to do it. But if you really hate doing challenges, probably it's not for you. It's not saying that you can't find something else that you can do. And these 4 experts that are here today, Stacy and Kimberly, who are here right now, are going to show you that there's many ways to get to the same end goal. You don't have to do something you hate doing. And the 8 experts at the panel are all going to showcase their expertise in ways to actually grow your business and get people to show up for your virtual event. We're going to do the wheel. You already kind of saw it in the backstage. I don't know if I even told you guys. I don't really, and I usually hide it away and just consume it. I wish I had a bigger one. I realized I should have bought a bigger wheel, but it's okay. Oh, we got story again. Story one more time. Or I can roll the wheel again if you guys don't want story.
Stories are fun.
I think story is the best one, actually.
Hmm.
Who would like to kick it off?
I've got a story. So I'll tell a story about why your marketing doesn't have to be a chore or boring. So one of the things that I really focus on teaching people is about how to make you in your marketing, how to make sure that you are actually in your marketing, because people want to talk with you, right? They want to work with you. They want to buy from you, because let's be honest. There's thousands of coaches. There's thousands of tech people. There's thousands of virtual event organizers. There's thousands in the world, right? But the reason why people want to work with you is because they like who you are. And so one of my favorite things is I've got a whole series of emails that I send out to people when they first join my list. And my favorite part is the second or third one is like, tell me more about you. I share a little bit about me, and then I share, ask for people to tell me more about them. So I've actually gotten several responses, and I get like about one a week for new people on my list. So I actually know who they are. So they're not just a name. They're not just a random email address. People actually take the time to hit reply, and they're like, thanks so much for sharing. This is what I do. And it's so interesting because people kind of approach email sometimes as that thing that they hate doing, or I don't want to bother my people. But when someone's like, I liked your email so much, thanks so much for sharing. I just love reading. Like I wait to see your name so that I can go and open your emails. I've heard that so many times. And then they take the time to actually answer and share with me about like where they are and what they're doing. I just love getting that kind of connection.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so great. And I mean, we all think like, oh, we all hate email. I mean, it's not going to say that we don't, because we're inundated by it. But when we go in our inbox each day, there's certain emails that when you see that, the name or person, you instantly just click on it. Like there's certain,
I want to read.
Yeah, newsletters that I just, if we really think about it, that we love it. And that's why we want to open it right away. We skim through and we're like, oh, I got to open this today. I got to open it right now. I'm not going to wait, because there's anticipation. And if it's done really well, and it's a great story and not, kind of the usual dry sell, that people want to open it and actually engage with you, which is so great. And Kimberly does a wonderful job to show you how to do that. Stacy, have you got your story ready?
I have a story from a previous client that I was working with, and they had an event coming up, and they were brand new retail business. So it's unusual. Is I was working with this brick and mortar retail, brand new. Well, they weren't new. They'd been open a year. It was their 1-year anniversary event, and we're in the midst of the planning, and I encouraged them to plan well ahead, and they chose to plan 12 days before the event. So we spent 12 hours, 12 days before the event. And one of the things we talked about was, it's a good thing that you have been consistently posting on social media, and that you have built up this large audience on social media, because all of those people that are in this physical area are going to show up to your event. And I made the prediction that all of these people are going to show up at their event. And they're like, oh no, they're not going to have that many people aren't going to show up. Well, picture the hottest day in July in Kansas City.
That's hot.
Kimberly can totally attest to that one. Missouri humidity in July, around the 20th, I think it was. And yes, the entire city showed up, or all of the ones who wanted what this person had. And it was because they had the social media presence. It's because they had gone live, like you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And the people had been watching them. They watch for them to go live, and that's the best way for this person to this day to get her audience. And this was 4 years ago that this story happened, but they didn't believe me when I said the whole city's going to show up. And then that day, people waited in line for 8 hours to get gluten-free corn dogs, funnel cakes, and onion rings. In the heat. They waited in line in the heat.
Oh my.
She sold every single cupcake she had in the place, every single baked item in the place while people were waiting. And they were waiting because they knew her from those lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it was the consistent live videos and social media presence where she built relationships, like Kimberly was saying, that brought those to her. And so now when she's planning an event, we have a discussion about planning a little farther ahead than 12 days.
I hope so.
And when I say the whole city's going to show up, she kind of listens to me.
Good plan.
Yeah.
So,
I'm actually kind of surprised she didn't think people would come, because gluten-free, it's actually quite hard to make, and they don't have a lot available to them. So
it was a very targeted audience.
Yeah, and enjoy it. They really
people
turn out.
who hadn't had funnel cakes in years there were people who had never had a funnel cake because of that. And it's, I think she just didn't believe her own power of her presence.
Yeah.
And so, it's funny because now I'll say, yeah, you wanted, there's going to be this many people show up at your event, and she'll be like, oh God, not again. No, she's like, I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was, she calls it actually her most successful failure. That she calls that event her most successful failure to this day.
Yes. That's such a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that. Let's do one more. We have time for one more because I don't want to keep it too long. We're running a little bit late. It's okay. I hope that it's gonna be. Oh, come on. I don't want that one. I'm gonna just there. Common mistake. Most common mistake that you see people making, and how they can hopefully fix it. But I don't know if you'll be able to have time to
I'll trace back to the one I just said of planning being one of the most common mistakes, no matter what you're doing, whether you're planning an event, whether you're working on a launch, whether you're working on a program, whether you're working on your social media, whether you're working on your technology. You can't necessarily just build a website. Well, some people can build a website overnight, but you really do need to plan certain things about it, or build an app overnight. I'll say planning, but then I'll also say follow-up. If you can follow up with a potential client within 5 minutes, your conversion rate goes up 70%.
Wow.
Oh, it gets better. If you can, so it drops off after that 5 minutes, right? But if you can get to them in 60 seconds, guess where that number goes? 391%. Chew on that for a minute. If you can respond somehow to somebody and make them know that they are important to you, their relationship is important to you. If you can get something back to them in 60 seconds, it increases your potential conversion rate on them. Lots.
Wow, that is something to definitely think about. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
it
surprised me when I read it. The first study's by MIT. The second was, I want to say V-Bound. I'll have to look up the actual number. The person who told me about it is a fellow JVology member who told me about the second stat. Because I pulled my stat out, and they says, well, I see your stat and I raise you another one.
Oh, that's nice. That's a great common mistake that people underestimate the time it takes to plan anything. And I agree. I totally everybody underestimates that. And the follow-up, that's a really good tip there as well. Thank you. Kimberly, what's the common mistake that you see?
Yeah, the common mistake I see is people focus on the wrong metrics. They focus on what I call vanity metrics. And that kind of relates to just not having a clear idea of what your planning is needing to lead to. Like what Stacy was saying, you know, the importance of planning something. Part of that process is knowing what your own success looks like. So for a lot of people, a lot of common questions I get are like, you know, what's a good open rate? What's a good click rate? How many people do I need in my group before I can start converting them? You know, how many listeners do I need for my podcast before I can start making money? All of those don't matter. Like, and people look at me like I'm nuts, and I'm like, no, they really don't matter, okay? Because what matters is the tool, is the resource, is the methodology, is the strategy that you're using, creating the results that you want. So what does your success look like for you? It doesn't matter how many people open your emails. It doesn't matter how many people click through your emails. Is your email doing what you want it to do? Right? Are you wanting to get new people into your funnel? Are you wanting to get new people into your community? Are you wanting to book calls? Those are your success metrics. How many people are doing that? You've set your numbers, and are you meeting them or not? But it's really easy for us to get caught up in, oh, well, I need to know this number, or I need to know this number, because it makes us look like we have a great stat, like what Stacy was saying. But the reality is, you know, the goal of your marketing at the end of the day is to get clients. So what kind of real success metric do you want? So I find that the big mistake is people focus on the wrong metrics to measure their success, and they need to create their success metrics, not their vanity metrics or what everyone else says they should be watching.
Yeah, that is a wonderful tip, and it's something we just don't want to. You know, we feel good when we got a lot of followers. We feel good when we got a lot of engagement, but that doesn't necessarily convert into sales. It does not necessarily convert into sales. And so really measuring that is kind of also facing the hard facts and reality of your business. Like if you are making sales, then what's going on there? Something isn't working right. Just because you've got tons of followers, tons of engagement, and huge open rates, but nobody's buying, then obviously it's not quite working there. And so it's something we got to look at a bit. And Kimberly is really great at helping you find out what it is you need to look at and the right thing. And both Stacy and Kimberly are going to be at the event at the end of October. They are going to help you to answer your questions, to get more people to show up for your virtual events, masterclasses, trainings. And you can actually bring your question to them, to the floor, to all the panels, to them specifically. If you can't show up live, we will still have the replay for you. So I do hope, though, that you can come live, because it's an opportunity to get 8 experts' time that you would probably not normally get in a room, including myself too, 9. So that's quite a lot of people in a very condensed amount of time. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking the time to be here, and I hope it was a little bit fun.
Thank you,
Love
Shirley.
the wheel.
Love the wheel,
the
yeah.
wheel.
I like the wheel.
Yeah. Even if it's small, don't get upset that the wheel's small. It does its job.
Yes.
It's small and it's fun.
It looks big. The thing is, you know, when you're looking at it, when I looked at it on the internet, I bought it. Like, yeah, it's big. When I got it, I took it up. Yeah, that's big enough. And when you put it up there on camera, you're like, oh,
Not
actually,
big.
that's kind of small. You don't know.
Right.
It has colors, and you told what the colors were.
It's all good.
You know? Does it
Have a
job.
great day. And I will get back to where are we? Here we are. Today is a little bit longer. Our show, we're actually running over. I promised you 45 minutes, and today we're slightly over, but it's okay. It was well worth it, because we got really great strategies, stories, and tips from 4 panel experts who will be at the event at the end of October. And next week I have a few more coming, so you can come and meet them and get a few more tips and get to know them. Thank you so much for being here. I'm here every Thursday and helping you to find your ideal clients online, giving you teardowns, step-by-steps, and how-tos. See you then.